Hello, everybody. Tracy Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures powered by JDog. Our podcast gives veterans, male spouses, active military members, and military family members a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, how they are affecting their communities post-service, and a tactical treasure from their past that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I have the wonderful pleasure of speaking with Amy Meehan. Amy has been a military spouse for more than 20 years with her husband, having served in the Navy. And during his deployment, Amy was the liaison between her spouse's deployed helicopter squadron aboard an aircraft carrier and the family readiness group she started on the home front. Amy continued communication efforts in the form of fundraisers for scholarships, newsletters, and more. She then decided to get her master's in teaching, where she spent years in the classroom before returning to her first career. Since then, Amy has worked in various communication roles, and now she holds the position of Director of Communications and Instant Teams. She and her husband have 3 teenagers and a Shih Tzu puppy, and currently reside in Arlington, Virginia. Hi, Amy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
I don't know what kind of puppy that is. I hope I pronounced it right.
You did. It's a Shih Tzu. It's a mix between a Shih Tzu and a poodle.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh,
Yes.
that's neat. So, wow, what an amazing career as a mill spouse, 20 years, right? What was that
It'll be
like?
25 years this year.
Oh,
He got
wow.
out 2 years ago. So yeah.
Oh, wow. So what was that like, your experience being a mill spouse and serving right along with your husband? Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me on this program. I really appreciate the opportunity. There are so many of us out there, and everybody has their unique story to tell. So I appreciate you letting me share mine. Yes, my husband served in the United States Navy for more than 32 years.
Wow.
As you stated, most of them as a helicopter pilot aboard aircraft carriers, because some pilots are on small ships, and mine was on the carrier. Um, and my experience is similar to most in that he did several deployments at different helicopter squadrons all along the East and West Coast, and lots of workups as part of training as well, where they go out to sea for 3 weeks and come home for 1, and then spent time at the Pentagon on and off all throughout that career.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. So, I understand that you started a family readiness group on the home front while your husband was deployed. I would love to hear about that, what that is all about, and why is there such a need for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So typically when my husband would have they call it a PCS. Everybody's very
Yes.
familiar with it if you're
Yeah.
associated with the military, but it's a permanent change of station. And that
Right.
meant for him and for us, a new helicopter squadron, starting all over again, new service members and their families. And for a long time, since I actually met him when I was 19 years old at an Army Navy game, and for a long time, there was this opportunity to be part of a spouse club, and that was it. And as time went on, and people like myself started seeing the need for the extended family to get involved. I noticed my brother was in the Marine Corps, and when he went to boot camp, my parents were very involved and wanted to do more than just write letters. So it made me think that there were significant others that might be interested, parents like my own, siblings, grandparents who really wanted to know how to help their service member while they were away and still stay connected to this community at home in time of need. So, a few spouses in the squadron, along with myself, thought it'd be best to explore what other communities had already been doing. For example, the surface warfare community already had that setup of a family readiness group, and we thought it was, our time in the helicopter world to actually extend it out further to family members. So we had an ombudsman that got nominated, as part of our family net readiness group, and got really involved with the other squadrons and groups on the ship. So it was a really amazing opportunity to really bring in hundreds of people to an event. And, whether it was sending care packages or doing fundraisers for children in need from the squadron, things like that. So it's a really cool thing, and they still exist today. So.
Oh, wow. That's great. So what was it like? I mean, having been a part of the military community and, your husband's lengthy service, what was that like transitioning for not only your husband, but yourself as well, and the entire family?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty monumental. That is all that we have ever known. So the retirement ceremony itself, there's obviously a lot of tradition and pageantry involved, and some people opt to have a ceremony and some people don't. They're just done and they just want to fade into the sunset.
Right.
We chose to mark it with our family with a celebration. That was beautiful and fun. But honestly, the transition itself was very bittersweet. There was a mix of anxiety and excitement for the future. What would that look like? What would it bring? Whether or not he'd be able to integrate into civilian life well. And then for him, honestly, there was a great sense of loss to a certain
Sure.
degree. Like,
Yeah.
what is my purpose now? What will growth look like? We live, like you mentioned, in Arlington, Virginia. And if he has to go see someone at the Pentagon now, he can't just walk in. He has to submit his credentials. He has to
Right.
get escorted. And it's very humbling. It's really hard to completely go from what you once knew to something completely different. So
Wow.
that's pretty much what it feels like.
Oh gosh. Yeah. We hear a lot of that. I mean, here at JDog, we meet veterans every day that, have served even just 4 years or 6 years or have actually
Yes.
retired, and they struggle as well. They struggle to find that community again, that tribe, that camaraderie. That I think that's what's most missed.
Yes, for
So
sure. The people definitely are missed. Even for me too, there's a big difference. I used to live on base sometimes, and you just had that immediate family, and
right,
anybody would take your children in. They would look out for you. If my husband was deployed, somebody else's husband would mow my lawn. They would go over to your house, do landscaping, whatever you needed, jumpstart a car, um, run errands, all those kinds of things. And
yeah,
then you just are very lucky wherever you end up if you have a great set of neighbors. I was very blessed in that respect, but um, a lot of people don't find that again. Or
yeah,
even just
sure,
moving from place to place, we always gave ourselves a year to acclimate to the
yeah,
area. So
sure,
you don't have instant friends, but with the military community, in a sense, you do. The
yeah,
person that you meet the day you arrive and you have a good connection with them, you ask to be their emergency contact. So
yeah,
for them to be yours, it's
yeah,
just one of those things.
yeah, yeah,
So.
definitely. Wow, that's amazing. Veterans, military family members, if you're looking for an incredible opportunity, I would encourage you to check out JDogBrands.com. If you're interested in business ownership, if you're missing what was the best thing about your military service, being the camaraderie of fellow veterans, JDog is a place for you. If you go to JDogBrands.com, you can find out everything about JDog, including how to apply for franchise opportunities in either JDog Junk Removal and Hauling or our new division, Carpet Cleaning and Floor Care. And if you're looking to just be employed by a JDog, we have over 300 locations, close to 115 franchise owners, 90% veteran owned. You can go to the career page and fill out the form and see where we're hiring all across the country. And we connect you with your local JDog in your territory. So check us out, JDogBrands.com. So now you are the director of communications at Instant Teams, and I had the pleasure of meeting Erica McMahon's at an MIC conference back
Oh,
in, I
great.
think it was 2019,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was, I think it I think this one was it wasn't in Vegas. It was in Washington, I think. And
Okay.
I spent some time talking to her, and I just absolutely loved the whole mission of Instant Teams and what you guys are all about. I mean, because the military spouse unemployment that's a huge thing, especially like you say with PCSs. And um, so I just thought, what a great idea to kind of solve that problem, right?
Yes.
And I've even had the pleasure of, I have a lot of connections on LinkedIn, and I've met some gals, through LinkedIn that have just kind of floated it out there. Hey, I'm PCSing. I'm really struggling with employment, and I've actually connected them with, Liza and Erica. So it's been a neat thing to be a part of and help out with. But I'd love to hear about everything and what you do there, and so why
Sure.
don't you share a little bit?
Well, it's so great that you met Erica. It's Erica and Liza are wonderful because they're also active duty Army spouses.
Yeah.
So not only just entrepreneurs, but military spouses themselves. So they're really truly able to connect with their mission. I can give you my calm spiel in the verbiage that we call ourselves a talent marketplace. And they have really cool technology for our dashboard in regards to career development for military spouses. And we focus on skills based hiring now for employment solutions. So it's really great. What Instant Teams does is, they have this pool of talent, these military spouses, like you're talking about, like myself. And, I go on and I can explain, more, but you go on to our website and you start an account and you can opt in to find out what jobs are available for them. And so this business model is wonderful because, like we mentioned, we move around so much. It's all remote work. So you can literally move with your service member and still keep your job, which
Yeah,
is wonderful.
that is great.
So I really connected with that passionately, um, as I'm sure all military spouses should. And that's why I'm so grateful to be on your show, because as the director of communications, I'm charged with getting the word out there to everybody
Yeah,
about this amazing thing that Erica and Liza have started. And what's interesting to me too is, a lot of people didn't think about remote work till the pandemic hit. And
right.
they had this business idea that really took off during that time, but it was started in 2016. And, Liza had been working from home for 18 years. It's like
Wow.
unheard of.
Yeah,
So very grateful that military spouses will hopefully hear about this and create an account with us and then say yes or no, I'm interested in that job. So we offer all kinds of different jobs. To be honest with you, we have part-time, full-time, regular hours, shift work. They vary by position and skills. It just kind of depends on the scope of work that a customer has. So, um, like you said, it's a 20%, it's even higher, I think, a little bit now, a little bit more than 20% unemployment rate for military spouses, and they're underemployed too. There's a lot of them out
right.
there that have advanced degrees that can't get jobs. And then there's those that don't have college degrees that have the skills that can't get the jobs. So we're really trying to um, structure it so that we can help everybody. And so, you know, there's customers out there that we're really hoping want to tap into this amazing talent of military spouses. So, or I can say military connected individuals too. Obviously, you can't just have military spouses, but that's our prime target. Those are the people that we mainly target, but it's remote works for everybody
Sure,
nowadays.
sure.
So,
I even actually in our training that we do here at JDog, I actually when I go into business assistance, I talk about instant teams all the time because I think
oh, that's great.
at one time or another, I think some of our JDogs have used instant teams to help with
Oh,
administrative type stuff. So, but I always give you guys out as a resource, and I even do some mentoring for the Amplify program with Hiring Our Heroes.
Yes, that's
So
wonderful.
yeah, so I meet male spouses, and some of them are just trying to get back into the workplace again, and I've even given instant teams out and said, hey, you have to let me do an email introduction. You have to connect with these ladies, So yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because that's how I got back into communications. So you had mentioned that I started off my career with comms right out of college and did that for such a long period of time. And then I was thinking, it's really hard in PR or any area in that respect, marketing, to keep that kind of a schedule with children and deployments and things like that. So then I went into
Yeah.
teaching. But it was funny, pre-pandemic, I said, you know what? I really miss being in communications. I really want to get back into it. And I went through the Hiring Our Heroes program because a lot of people don't realize that it's not just for the veterans, it's for
Right.
spouses as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so it was that program that got my foot back into communications. It was like riding a bike, it was just picked up right where I left off. It was wonderful.
That's
So
great.
thank you for that shout out to them too. They're a really great program.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Hello, listeners and viewers. Thank you so much for tuning into this exciting episode of Tactical Treasures powered by JDog. We are speaking with Amy Meehan. She is a military spouse for more than 20 years, having her husband served in the Navy. And she has joined a incredible company called Instant Team. She is the director of communications. And I have to tell you, I've known about Instant Team for several years now, and they are really doing great stuff. They have a great platform, and they're a talent marketplace, and they connect companies to military and veteran spouses using innovative technology, career development, and a focus on skills-based hiring. Instant Team creates dynamic talent solutions for employers and careers for military spouses. And if you want to find out more information on if you're a military spouse and this could be a great way to work remotely, you can go to their website, instantteams.com, and click on the Career Seeker tab, and it'll walk you through how to get started. And employers, if you're looking for that virtual assistant who can help you in many areas of your company or business, definitely check out instantteams.com. And there is a tab that says employers. You can click on that and it'll walk you through how to get started. And the great thing about it is you will be supporting and helping military spouses with gainful employment as they are serving alongside of their husbands as their husbands serve our country. So check them out, instantteams.com. So actually, I think this leads into your tactical treasure. So I would love to hear what it is. So please share.
So tactical treasure that I want to share is obviously the bit of advice that I've learned over the years as a military spouse. Two things. One, just believe in yourself. I know that's really hard sometimes to do. And then two, have something for yourself. And what I mean by that is in the past, when I started this journey with my husband, I was told that I was married to the Navy first and then my husband. And then children came along, and before you know it, as military spouses, you're doing things for everyone else but yourself. Whether
Sure.
it's a hobby or career, my tactical treasure is to make sure you carve out something for just you. I think it's easy to lose yourself in your spouse's identity. And I don't mean that, you wear his rank or anything like that, or his medals or whatnot. But I'm just saying that you can lose yourself in support of their mission. So just to make sure to take care of you. So that's my tactical treasure.
That's great. So I guess that would probably be your advice, because that's the next question I had for you is What's
Yes,
your
it's a good
advice for
segue for
fellow
sure.
male
I mean, I
spouses?
guess for tactical treasures, there's a ton there as well.
Sure.
And um, if I do have to mention, because I know people sometimes mention like organizations or they mention things like that. Um, I did go through, and so did my spouse, went through the American Corporate Partners program for mentorship. And so I do advise um, career wise, that's a really great program itself. So I will mention that little as well. But as for advice, I think that goes along the lines of give yourself grace. Um, like that means if you don't feel like tackling that project or doing laundry that day, skip it. It's okay. There's always tomorrow. We're super women, but not superheroes, and we're super men and not super, because there's all different kinds of spouses. But we can't do it all in one day. So I feel like that would be my advice, is to give yourself some grace in that respect, especially during deployment.
Yeah.
So
And it's
I,
funny. It's funny that you say that because I recently had on another male spouse,
ah,
and her husband was Navy as well, and her name is Julie Green. She actually works for our PR firm, and
ah,
um, and she said the same thing.
I love
One
it.
of her pieces of advice was give yourself grace. You know,
Oh, that's great.
and
Yeah,
and give each other grace. Basically, she said both her
yeah,
husband and herself, because
exactly.
it was tough
I do.
transition for them as well. When he got out,
Yes.
because he served many years, and he got out, and so it was a learning curve for them as well.
I know for those military spouses who are just starting out, I have to say that I would always give a little gift. And I still feel like it's timely. It's one of those books. I don't know if you know JC Eckert or not. She's with military.com. She does these like masterclass series for all different, ranks in the military and whatnot. And I remember getting a book, The Hard Headed Women's Guide, and now it's obviously all different kinds of spouses, but Hard Headed Women's Guide to Raising a Military Family. And it was just that connection that you needed. She was an Air Force spouse for many decades. Um, and it just goes to show you with Julie, with myself, we all have very similar stories. We all
Sure.
have gaps in our employment or these adventures that have occurred and all these very similar lessons learned. But I think that's what brings you comfort when you're trying to get through difficult times, is knowing that you're not alone. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely true. Um, so, uh, how can people connect with Instant Teams? You were kind of talking about the dashboard, and let's say I'm a male spouse and I think remote work is the right step for me. How would I go about all of that?
sure. Well, of course, we're on all social media platforms, so they could find us that way, but instantteams.com. And when you're talking about the military spouse, they're a career seeker. And once they come to our website, they create an account and then they can see what jobs are available in we call it our talent marketplace. And then they can learn more about the job opportunity and use our platform to validate the required skills that they need to perform the work. And once that happens, they complete an interview and apply for the work. So it's pretty straightforward. We have a lot of exciting things coming down the pike. We're going to have a whole new aspect to the dashboard where they're going to have learning and development for free. We have some exciting new community app that's coming out in the near future. So ways to connect. So Instant Teams has a lot of really cool things on the horizon. So if anything, maybe they just want to get on there and connect with us and follow us, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever else, just to see the cool stuff that's coming out for the
Wow.
military spouse
Yeah,
community.
that's great. So what if I'm an employer and I think this is awesome and I want a remote admin assistant or something?
Yeah, just come to our website. It's great. It's pretty straightforward. We're currently behind the scenes revamping our whole website, so that'll be happening soon too. But for now, it's set up for career seeker or employer. You just
Okay.
click on the right tab and you'll find your way.
Okay. That sounds
So,
awesome. That's great.
yes,
Well, thanks
thank
so
you.
much for taking the time to be with us today, Amy. It was amazing. A lot of great
I
stories. And thank you for sharing so much about your military life and your family. It was great.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I'm just so glad to get the word out, and I hope that more military spouses find out about instant teams and remote work. So, thank you so much for
Well,
having me.
if I can talk about it, I certainly will. I always do. Okay, Amy.
Appreciate that.
Well, great to talk to you today. Thanks so much for joining us.
You too.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.